Hi, everyone. Welcome to Christian Networking Entrepreneurs. I am your host, Pastor Shalonda Johnson. As always, every month we are so excited to be here, so excited that you're here. Don't forget to share, like, tell a friend, tell a coworker that we are on. Let's talk a little bit about our founder, pastor, or prophetess. Teresa McCurry is our founder. We showcase emerging leaders, business owners, community leaders here at Christian Networking Entrepreneurs. If you are interested in being a part of Christian Networking Entrepreneurs, let me give you the phone number, which is 216-916-9270. Christian Networking Entrepreneur is a outreach ministry of the New Beginnings Ministry, where Apostle Gregory McCurry is the pastor and prophetess Teresa McCurry is the prophet of the house. And as always, we bring you all the best guests. And on today, we have an amazing guest who's going to talk about a subject that is going to be so vital. I think it's going to be just amazing. As always, her name is Eryka Parker. Hello, Eryka. How are you?
Hi, Pastor Shalonda. Thank you so much for having me on today.
No problem. Thank you for being our guest. So we are going to dive right in. We spoke a little bit yesterday, so I'm so excited about our conversation on today. But before we get any further, tell us a little bit about who you are, your backstory, your education. Just kind of take us on the journey.
Okay, sure. So I started my initial company was Lyrical Innovations LLC, and that was it came from a love of reading. I love to read, I love to write. It's a passion of mine. It has always been a passion. So I started that because I wanted to see people of color in publishing, but being presented in a way that we could be proud of. So, error-free work, polished manuscripts, and just great work that takes away all of the distraction and just to focus on the message that we bring. Coming up, it was just, we were underserved coming up in the publishing industry. I didn't see main characters that looked like me, or even children's book characters that looked like me. So I wanted to contribute to changing the narrative, so to speak, on that. So I started my organization, just freelance editing. It was super fun, loved it. And then that graduated into doing back covers for people. It graduated into doing a little bit of ghostwriting, and then eventually coaching, which is what I do right now. In terms of my education, I do have a bachelor's in business from Kent State University, and I also have an MBA from University of Phoenix, but I think I'm more so self-taught when it comes to the writing industry and literary industry, just being so immersed in it and having such a love for it. I dove into classes, enrichment classes, and seminars and workshops, and just really make it a point to be a lifelong learner. So that's my passion. That's what I do. My new company is Legacy Book Coaching and Consulting, which launched it hasn't officially launched, but It's there, and we have been working with clients. But I started that in November of last year.
Oh, wow. Great, yes. Great. So how long have you been into the whole book scene? Because we hear all the time people are into the business scene, or we were underrepresented representation for business and things of that nature. But for literacy, that's something different, because I think I can agree with you. As you were talking, I'm looking back, I don't remember a lot of books that represented me and even my culture, or how we did things in life. And now in 2021, we see all of these books now about our hair and about how we feel, and we see this whole this whole genre opening up.
It's exciting,
who we are.
That's amazing.
It's because I'm telling you, I'm taking my mind back to the library, and I didn't see that. So how long have you been on this journey?
I've been on this journey. I would say I officially launched Lyrical Innovations in 2007. So what is that, 15 years ago? I started working with people that said, I want to write a book, but self-publishing is so hard. Like, what do I do? I don't know anything about it. How do I make sure it's right? How do I get on Amazon? So I started working with them to just try to make sure that they understood the process so that they could represent themselves in a way they could be proud of, right? So we don't want to half step when we come out. We got to work twice as hard to get half as much as we know. So wanting to make sure that you put your best foot forward and to represent yourself in a way you could be proud of to leave your legacy is, what I wanted to be a part of. So that was started in about 2007. And you're right. Lately, we have seen, this emerging of like Black authors and just minority authors just doing amazing things. Like even in Cleveland, Ohio, with all the authors that we have, children's book authors and all the things, like you go to events and you can see all of these authors that are proudly showing their main characters who are, whether they are light skinned, if they're dark skinned, if they have vitiligo, you're just seeing in a wheelchair, you're seeing all the diversity and you're normalizing that. And I think that's what we need to show the world, that we need to normalize that we are here. Please acknowledge us because we're here and we have stories to tell as well.
Oh, wow. I can imagine that has been such a rewarding experience just to see the journey take place. Because like I said, and when you start talking, I'm like going down in my mind like, oh, wow, this has actually been a journey, and to know that you've been a part of that. So if you think about one of your philosophies as far as your business, what would be one of your business philosophies or something you stand by?
I have so many. Oh, my gosh. I think one of the biggest business philosophies that I have is just that we all have a story within us and we deserve to tell it. And if you don't tell it, someone will tell it for you. Meaning that if you're not clear on your narrative and what you want to represent to the world, you're going to end up in someone else's story and it's going to be told in a different way than you would have liked. Just think of someone that does their own autobiography and they have to talk about the people in their lives, right? So now they're representing you and you don't get a chance to represent yourself and your side and what you're passionate about. So tell your story. There's someone out there that can grow from that. And we all think we're humble. We don't think that we have a new narrative or a new way to tell our story. Like it's all been done before, but it has not. Not from your perspective, not from your upbringing, not from your point of view. So you need to tell your story and make sure that you can inspire others to do the same.
Wow. I love that because like you said, we all have our own narrative. And you said something, and I don't want to misquote it, so I'm going to start it and you're going to finish it off for me. That if you don't tell your story your way, that
someone else will do it for you. That
right there is just it's like a nugget. If we could have that like posted on the screen, that is what we would have, because you do have an opportunity to tell it from your perspective and your narrative. And you talked about how we all feel that we're humble, but at the end of the day, we don't know how our journey, our experience, or maybe the way we perceive a certain situation. There may be other people out there that see things the same way, or that can benefit from what you have to say or what you have to write. Because I hear so many people talking about wanting to be a publisher. So for everyone that is listening today, make sure you have your pencil and paper so there's no more excuses why you shouldn't write your book.
That's right.
No more excuses.
Absolutely. And another thing that you brought up is just that when you're talking about your perspective and you're talking about sharing your story and someone has shared it before you, maybe they're waiting for you to share it. Maybe they're waiting for someone that looks like them to share the story. Maybe they're looking for it told from our perspective, from our culture and the way that our upbringing and our sense of community. It sheds a different light on everything. So having it told from that particular perspective, the cultural perspective is key, because it's like, oh, wow, yes, I identify with that. That's going to spur me into action and give me the courage to be able to do some things that maybe I couldn't have done in the past.
Wow.
So it's amazing.
It really, really, really is. Yeah. So what would you say to the individual that says, I have this story that I want to tell. I believe it's amazing and it's awesome, but I'm not the greatest writer.
Oh, wow. I get that all the time. Okay. Oh, my gosh. And it's one of those things that I think is imposter syndrome. What? No.
Okay, let's
we'll
go.
Get to that.
Yeah.
But I think that when you get to a point where you know that you have this story that could possibly change the world or to inspire others, but you don't tell it, you sit on it because you feel like you don't have the skill or the craft to do it, that's definitely a reasonable reason to feel that way. But there are resources out there to help you. Number one, there's writing workshops that you can go to. There are book coaches like myself that can help you. There's ghostwriting. And if you don't want it to be ghostwritten, you can even get a collaborator who can work with you to get your story out there, but you still have input as well. So there's so many ways. And I know it can be scary. It's a scary undertaking at first, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. But there's so much to be gained from doing that. So, and you don't want to take that, you don't want it to be the end of your life and you wondering, wow, what if I had just told my story? How could I have changed somebody's life by sharing that?
Yeah. Yeah. So you said your love for books and the lack of representation of individuals that look like you caused you to just develop a whole business strategy.
Yes.
And so the thing about it is that I've interviewed so many different people and so many different businesses, but this is very unique. This is, well, maybe unique to me. Maybe I should say that. Just unique to me and maybe to our audience. So you say you coach. So what is a business, what does a book coach do?
Okay, so a book coach is someone that my phrase is, I see in you. I want to help you see in you what I see in you.
Okay.
So I see someone that has this amazing story that needs to be told. I see someone that's going to change lives. I see someone who is going to possibly lead, retreats and conferences with their story, or to do interviews and make an impact around the world when I see you. Okay. But you may see yourself as, well, I don't want people to think, because, sometimes in the Black community, we're so humble. We don't want to be someone that brags or that's, showboaty, because we believe, and also in our faith, that the glory always goes to God. But in sharing our story, we glorify God, because God gave us these gifts. He gave us our skills and our talents to be able to glorify him in different ways. And that looks different to different people. So having the faith in yourself to do that is what I allow you to do. Is like, look, we're going to get to why you're called to do this, why you're doing this, and what you're going to do to help other people. So the focus isn't on you. Stop focusing on you and focus on the impact that you can make. So I work with them to give them that confidence. Once they get the confidence, and sometimes it's a slow process, but once they get the confidence, then we approach the work. Okay, what's your brand? What's your platform as an author? What's your theme? What are you telling the world? Oh, well, I don't know. Okay, let's get firm on that. Okay, my theme is, I want to empower people to be able to, I don't know, in whatever ways that they can, change the world. So, for example, if there's a young lady that I worked with who had suffered some abuse in her younger years, and she wanted to share her story in order to empower people to not only leave the situation if they're still in it, but to share their story to prevent other young people from going down the same path. Was that hard? Yes. Did we cry? Yes, we cried. She shared her story and I cried with her because it was hard. But once she got past that, she started her group. She has like an actual group of young ladies that she mentors now in a church. And she is working on her book. And it's Bible-based, and it's just an amazing thing. She's gotten grants. She's doing so well for herself. And every day when she looks in the mirror, she's like, I'm making a difference. I'm able to hopefully prevent someone else from going down the same path, and to know that even if that does happen, it was not your fault. So how amazing is that?
Wow.
Right?
It just sounds like just some different layers are being peeled at the same time. Wow.
Yes.
That's definitely amazing.
Yes.
We talked about that, not wanting to come across to others as though we're such and such, or arrogant, or the term that I believe that is used most often in the African American community, bougie.
Oh my gosh.
Or all of these other negative terms.
Yes.
And oftentimes it could cause you to have what's called the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because I believe some of those negative terms and the way we see things has caused us to kind of fall into this imposter syndrome. So first of all, tell us what imposter syndrome is.
Okay, so most people don't realize that they're suffering from this. Let's just be clear, okay? And some people have never even heard of the term. So it was a term that was coined by psychologists. So it's something that most of us go through, because each day we are living in fear of being found out. So that fear of being found out is, okay, so people may think I'm great, but deep down, I don't know if I'm that great. And I'm afraid that people are going to discover that I'm not that great. Or I'm not going to be able to live up to other people's expectations of me. I'm going to let people down. Once they really see who I am, they're going to see that I'm not all I say that I am, or all that others think that I am. So it's natural, of course, right? Like you wake up and you're about to lead a conference, or you're about to do anything. The only thing that I don't feel imposter syndrome with is, number one, coaching my clients because I believe in them. Yeah. And it's not about me. And number two is doing things like this because I want to get the word out about this so that people can tell their stories. But when I write, I've been writing since I was 9. I feel like an imposter. When I do anything that has to do with writing, I feel like an imposter. And that's what I've been doing most of my life. I've been doing it for my whole life. But I feel that way because it's a protection mechanism that my mind has fostered for me, to protect me against the unknown in something that is new. Anytime you do something new, anytime you do something you've never done before, or something that's scary, your mind just kicks in like, nope, we're not doing that. Nope. Yeah. We don't know the outcome is going to be, and that we're not safe. So you automatically feel like this fear and this anxiety for doing it, but not thinking about the fact that you've been trained for this, that someone has faith in you that you can do it, that you're prepared. But it just seems so scary that you just automatically feel like, no, I can't do it, and I'm a fraud. I can't do this. Pick somebody else, please, like not me. Wow. You feel like that.
This is, I believe, so liberating in so many areas, because I'm assuming, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to deal with this before you in your coaching. You deal with this with individuals, thinking, okay, I have a story, but it's really not that great. Right. I have something to say, but somebody else got something to say better than me. Or,
right. Yeah, they do. They say that. They're like, they'll tell me their story, and they always think, like, you being fake. I'm not being fake. I'm excited. I'm like, I'm excited for you. They're like, nah, you're just telling me that. No, I'm excited. Do you not realize, like, what you've been called to do? Wow. Do you not realize? I've never heard anyone say that before. I've never seen this perspective before. Like, this is awesome. And they're like, really? And I have to kind of coach them in, like, yes, this is great. Come on, let's do some affirmations. Because clearly there's fear here. And sometimes what'll happen is they'll do the appointments with me, and we'll get on this great path, and then they start canceling appointments. Oh, I can't do it. That's how I know we're onto something great. Because they're like, oh, I can't do it. I have to reschedule. I'm not available. This came up. My goldfish died. I can't. And it's like, come on now, sis. Now we were just embarking on something amazing. Come on now. Come on. And so I recognize the fear. And they're resistant because they know that something great is on the other side, and they're like, I can't do this. But yes, you can. And you will, because I'm not leaving you alone until we do it. Wow. You know, and whether that means that you don't like me or you don't want to see my name pop up on your phone, but I committed to the fact that we're going to do this. So we're going to do this. And at the end, they're always like, I'm so glad we did this. Thank you so much for seeing it through with me, because I knew I could, but I was so afraid. And it's like, yeah, I understand that, but, you know, we're going to do something amazing. And from there, since they have the platform, right, they have the goals. They're like, okay, now that I published my book, I guess I can send it out to people, and I guess I could book some speaking engagements and maybe do some podcast interviews, and then maybe I could start a YouTube channel, and then I could do, and then they just start from there, and it just goes. Wow. And all they had to do was just face their fear and know that they're not an imposter. God gave you this gift. Yeah. Like, this is, to have it come from God, there's no better way.
What better?
You know what I mean? You can't have any more confidence than it being a God-given gift.
And I think once we get out of self, you talked about it. It's not about you. It's not about what your abilities are. Because as we see that God has positioned people like you around us to kind of help through, and I say us because I feel like I'm with the people, to help us in this journey. So we talked about imposter syndrome. Yes. How do we overcome it? So now that we recognize the audience, so now you're recognizing what it is and what's going on maybe in some of our minds. Yes. So now we understand it, we recognize it, we can identify it. And so now that you've explained it, we should be able to identify it in different areas in our lives.
Yes.
So we've identified it. That now what to do with it. Now, okay, what do I do with it now?
Now that I know it's here and I know what it is and I know it's not just me. I know it's not a me thing, right? Okay, so here's some tips. And these are some of the things that I wanted to touch on. Yes. Imposter syndrome is fear, which is false evidence appearing real. We've all heard that term before. It is a protective mechanism. Yes. Next thing, let's talk about one thing before we get to how to address it. Have you ever heard of the term the Great Resignation? So the Great Resignation has been happening for quite some time, even before, the pandemic. But since the pandemic, a lot of people have been resigning from their jobs and either starting their own job, their own business, or they've been saying, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for this new position because this is now or never. Now, those are two very scary things, to start your own business or to finally go for this position that you know you deserve, but you haven't done in the past. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Imposter syndrome. Here it is, right? Oh, I actually got the job. I applied for it and I got it. Or, wow, I've launched my business. Like, what's next? Like, I don't know what
We're
to do.
Actually
right?
making money.
We're making money. That's when imposter syndrome is at its peak, because now you're in new territory and your mind, that protective mechanism is like, no, we can't do it. We can't do it. We can't do it. And you're like, oh my gosh, you wake up every day like, what am I going to do? Right? I don't deserve to be here. This is a fluke. So in that, what happens is you have to shift from something that's called a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. So let's talk about a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is basically, and I'm going to read from my notes here to make sure I get this right. Seeking external approval, seeing failure as disaster, and avoiding difficulties at all tasks, like at all costs. I don't want to do anything that's hard. I don't want to do anything that's challenging, right? So it's an emotional crutch that protects us from failure. It creates recognition in the eyes of those that we look up to and those whose opinions we value. It boosts our self-confidence. It comforts us as a security blanket, and it's hard to get rid of because it feels good, right? So that is what a fixed mindset is, okay? So let's talk about that. I suffer from a fixed mindset. I was in a job for 7 years that I hated, that I was withering under, but I was like, it's safe, and I know that I can do this job, and I'm good at what I do, and I'm just going to stay here. And my husband is in sales, and sales is risky. Like, you can have a great quarter and then get laid off the next quarter. So this is stable for us. I'm going to stay here. And in the meantime, I'm working on manuscripts until 1, 2 in the morning with a new baby, all because I don't want to let my business, Lyrical Innovations, go, but I want to keep on to the security blanket of my job. Yeah. So finally, I ended up getting fired from that job. And it was the best blessing. I was 5 months pregnant. I was 5 months pregnant and fired and rejoicing. Like, yes, Lord, thank you.
You finally did it for me.
Because I wasn't going to do it on my own, but thank you, right?
Yeah.
So that was my chance to open up my eyes and face that I had a fixed mindset and that I needed a growth mindset. So let's talk about a growth mindset. A growth mindset, you seek development. You see failure as an opportunity to learn and grow. You love challenges and you seek them out. Working hard to realize that your potential is to be the best person that you are, and you know that, and you can envision that. And then you confront your own shortcomings with the desire to improve. And guess what? Anybody can develop a growth mindset at any time. It's not something like, oh, I was born with this mindset and I'm stuck with it. You can choose to have a growth mindset. You can choose to see things differently and to, you know what, I'm not going to run away from my fears anymore. I'm not going to be afraid to fail, because then I'm never going to launch if I'm just, I might fail, right? Yeah. I mean, can you think of a time in your life where you were like, I'm just going to do it and I don't care if I fail? Because I'm sure you've had that.
Yes.
So many times.
Definitely.
Right?
It's just that, so when you talked about the fixed mindset, just because I'm on set and this is what I'm supposed to do right now, because what I would love to have done was like to literally jump up. She is on to something, because It's the way a lot of us see life.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily that it's a wrong thing.
Yes.
It's just the way that we've been trained to see it. You said something when people see a failure as a disaster. Like, oh, like the world is about to cave in.
Yes.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I promise you, when you put your foot down, the earth is still going to be here.
Yes.
So that particular mindset, and then you talked about a fixed mindset, and then you talked about, what was the other one? A
growth mindset.
A growth mindset, and how they are totally different.
Yes.
Let me slow down.
Yes.
Let me go back, and then we talked about the resigning. What was that term?
The Great Resignation.
And you hit it on the nail, because I think in the last maybe 3 to 5 years, we've definitely seen that big shift.
Haven't
where
we?
we've seen individuals like, hey, I'm just gonna go
Yes.
for, and almost with the mindset of, what do I really have to lose?
Yes.
What
Yes.
do I stay here forever and be unhappy, or do I trust what has been put inside of me?
Amen.
And launch out on that? Because what I found out is that oftentimes we work for someone doing the job that we could do to earn revenue on our own, but $1 million company trusts you
Yes.
to do the work, but we won't trust ourselves
Amen.
to do that same job. There's a young lady I watched, and this is when, I think, was it Periscope was out?
Yes.
Her name is Nicole Walters.
Okay.
And she videoed herself leaving her corporate job.
Oh my gosh. That's
So she did this whole video on how she was going to leave, how she resigned, and all of this good stuff. And she has like this website, I think it's called the $1 Million Baby or something like that.
Okay.
But I've literally watched this individual transition. She's into monetizing. It was the first time I heard about monetizing.
Okay.
And she jumped out there, and like now, maybe 6-7 years later, she is doing like this amazing conferences, huge platforms, but she was doing it on a lower scale for a Fortune 500 company. And now she's doing it on such a larger scale for herself. And then I think you asked the question, have I ever experienced that?
Yes.
And I laughed at the inside, because just in August, I launched a whole new company. Something totally different, just something, when I say totally different, totally different. But that mindset is that, you know what? I can do this.
That's right.
I can really do this. And I hope you guys that are watching are sharing right now, because I think that when we identify, and I really thank God for you being on the show, because now you're helping us identify some of the areas of challenge that we have, because I truly believe that we cannot overcome any area of challenge until we identify this is what it is, and put a name on it, and put a description with it, because other than that, we're kind of like blindly moving.
Yes, absolutely. And the key is to recognize it. So, okay, we recognize it, but then also you have to validate it. Because you can't just say, okay, that's imposter syndrome, later for that. You have to acknowledge, this is the way I'm feeling this way for a reason.
Okay.
This is why I'm feeling like this. In the past, I felt like this. In the past, I've experienced this. So this is why I feel like this. And I'm going to validate that. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay that I feel like this. But this is what I'm going to do to move forward. I'm going to say my affirmations. I'm going to read my scripture. And you can already have your scripture set to the side. Okay, in the past, whenever I'm about to do a live interview, I feel like an imposter. Let me have my scripture. On the way here, I'm going to read and listen to my scripture. You can start to have the foresight.
Yeah.
You know yourself. We know ourselves. Okay, I'm always feeling a certain way when this happens, so I'm gonna combat that with this. I'm gonna acknowledge how I feel. Okay, I knew this was coming, but this is fact. I'm not gonna worry about the feelings. I'm gonna worry about the fact. This is fact. I'm qualified.
Yes.
I am prepared. I have the talent, and people believe in me to show up as only I can, and that's why I'm here. And that's why I get to be here.
Y'all, I'm trying to hold myself together in this interview right here. I'm really trying to pull myself together right here, because this right here, these are golden nuggets. If I'm loud, my apologies, people. But these are golden nuggets right here.
Yes.
You're saying identify it, you're identifying it, you're recognizing it, we're validating, but we're not saying that it has the right to hold us back.
That's right.
I might have experienced or experiencing imposter syndrome, but the fact remains that I am qualified.
Yes.
So you talk about some affirmations.
Yes.
So I think most people know what affirmations are, but just quickly, if you could explain what affirmations are, how they work, and what's your 2 top favorite.
Yes. Okay. So affirmations are like, for me, it's everything. I need my affirmations, y'all. The reason I need affirmations is because imposter syndrome is real. And I know I'm living with it. And I know now that I have a label, I know, okay, it's not just me. It's not just me. Everyone is living with this. So when I do my affirmations, what I focus on the most is I want to make sure that I am recognizing the situation, but I'm also giving myself food, right? You have to nurture yourself and give yourself that food that you need in order to move forward and combat and face what you're going through. So affirmation is just positive words that reaffirm. That's the root is affirm. It reaffirms what you already know to be facts. So these are factual things, but they're also positive things that you can say to yourself to be able to grow and to be able to kind of say, okay, I'm going to reroute that negative thought. That negative thought has no place in my mind. I'm going to reroute it, and I'm going to be positive and give myself positive things to say. So, for example, and I actually have, if you go to legacybookcoaching.com/links, I do have a free download that you can do that has affirmations for imposter syndrome. But let's see, what are my favorite affirmations? Mine are, I deserve to be here. I've earned the right to be here.
Yeah.
And my other affirmation is I'm a money magnet, because money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil.
Make it clear. Make it plain.
Let's be clear. It's okay to make money. It's okay to provide for your family and yourself. God wants us to have an abundance. He wants us to have what we need. So wanting money is not a bad thing at all.
There is nothing, like you said, there is nothing wrong with having or wanting to obtain nice things, be successful, a nice home.
Yes.
It's the love of it that causes us to do some strange things for some change.
I love it.
It's the love of it.
Yes,
but
yes.
there is nothing wrong with wanting to attain success and have nice things. Okay, so we got that together.
Yes.
So you said that one of your affirmations is, I deserve to be here.
I deserve to be here.
Yes.
I do. Where I am today, I deserve it. I'm self-made. Because I don't have a degree in writing. I don't have an MFA. I did the work. I studied.
Yes.
I fell on my face. I've been embarrassed at times where someone has published a book and it's got errors in it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I was trying to have a brand new baby and work a full-time job and edit your book. I apologize that there's errors in your book. Let me bring it back. Let's fix it. Let's make it right.
Yes.
Okay. But I still earn that spot.
And that doesn't make you an imposter.
That doesn't make me an imposter. It makes me human.
Yes.
But I earn my place to be here, because if they look at what you sent me, based on this published with these few errors, they would know the work that I put in.
Yes.
But I deserve to be here. Absolutely. And you deserve to be here. And you guys deserve to be here where you are today. You have earned that.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. The voice in your head may not sound like you, but it is you. It's you.
Yeah. Because
the voice that affirms you is God. The voice that builds you up is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So we know that voice. But the voice that's saying, no, you can't do this. No, this is too risky. Don't do that. That's you. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You're just protecting yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not, don't blame it on the enemy. Sometimes the enemy is within. Sometimes it is you.
I just need to just take 2 minutes just to get myself together on the show right here today.
Sometimes it's you.
I love that. It is not the enemy. Sometimes it's you. It's your perspective. It's the way you're looking at different things. We've given the enemy way too much credit for things that we have we've been a part of.
Amen. Amen.
So yes. Okay. So we're talking about sometimes it's you.
Sometimes it's you.
That's a whole revelation just in itself right there.
It is. I agree. I had to learn that. That was hard.
And these are some, I feel like this interview and what you're talking about, this is for those that are really at a point in your life where you're saying, you know what, no more excuses.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm not making excuses. I'm not trying to find a way to self-sabotage myself.
Yes.
No matter what this journey brings, I'm at a point in my life where I'm willing to step out on faith. I'm willing to step out on what it is that God has put inside of me. I'm willing to step out on what I have learned and what I have earned and actually just go for. So this is for mature audience.
Yes, speak that life.
Mature audience.
I love it. You are speaking life right now. And then also, let's talk about rerouting negative thoughts.
Okay.
So those that is a 24/7, 365 task. Okay. Yeah. Those thoughts are going to come. Sit with it for a second, then reroute. Okay, I'm feeling this way because, and then reroute it. Because you're going to have to reroute that. Don't stew in that.
Okay, reroute. Explain to us.
So the way you reroute a negative thought is you acknowledge. So you don't just ignore it because it's going to keep coming back if you do that. Don't ignore it. Okay, but you want to say, I'm feeling this because this is why I'm feeling it. So think about, some of you guys are parents. Think about when your toddler is maybe like 1 or 2, and they are acting a fool. They are throwing a tantrum, stretched out on the floor. Y'all in CVS, they just over a sucker. That's something you said no to. They're stretched out on the floor, right? You can see, number one, okay, they're trying me right now. But number 2, okay, they also have not had a nap. Yeah. They are tired and hungry. I'm going to give them grace. I'm going to scoop you up firmly, and then we gonna leave this store. I'm gonna get you together, and then I'm gonna feed you, and I'm gonna put you down for your nap. Okay. This is a symptom. It's not the cause. So the negative thought is a symptom of fear. It's not the cause. It's the symptom. So why am I being negative? Because I'm afraid. Why am I afraid? I'm afraid because I've never done this before. I'm afraid because I don't know the outcome. I'm afraid because I've seen people fail before. I've seen myself fail before. Am I ready? Right? Yeah. When you get to the bottom of that, you're like, oh, okay. I got this. Okay. I acknowledge that I'm afraid right now, but I also know that I'm prepared to do this. I also know that I have done this before and been successful. I also know that doing this is bigger than me. Yeah. My word and my messages have to reach someone who is going through. I have to share my story, and it's embarrassing. I might shed a negative light on some people that I care about, but I have to share my story. It's mine. Because if I don't tell my story, someone else will. So I have to tell it my way. And I'm going to save lives by doing that. I'm going to save lives by doing something that's scary. So I'm going to reroute this thought, and I'm going to acknowledge that I'm afraid, but I'm going to do it afraid.
And all of these techniques that you're sharing with us is part of your coaching with an individual to get their story out. Who would have ever thought? I know I wouldn't have definitely have ever thought that there were so many layers, or you have to kind of go through so many different, I don't want to even use the word challenges, but just peeling some layers back in order to get to the root of, or to get to the finished product. So you offer all of this in your coaching. We're down to like our last few minutes. I told you this interview was going to go. I told you it would go fast. So tell us, how do we reach out to you? You said something about a free download. So give the people the download. How do we reach out to you? And how do we reach you?
Just to speak to the layers. Yes. The layers is getting to the true story. You may think you're telling your story, but you're not. You're telling the glossy surface of the story. To get the story that connects with your readers, to get the story that's going to change lives, and to get the story that's going to resonate and that's going to get you a following that really trusts and likes and knows you, you have to do the peeling. We can't be on the surface. We can't have the finished face. We got to have the bare face. We got to tell the gritty picture and not the pretty picture. And that's what you have to do, and that's what the coaching does. Okay, so that's why I say you might not like me at first because I'm going to make you cry. But we got to get there. The link is legacybookcoaching.com/links, plural. that has the free workbook on how to deal with imposter syndrome in your affirmations. And I'm on Instagram at Legacy Book Coaching. I'm on Facebook at Legacy Book Coaching, or you can visit the website as well. And yeah, that's how you reach me. But I really want the real stories out there because that's the ones that impact for sure.
So if you could leave something, we got a few more minutes with our audience. You talked about a couple of your affirmations and how to redirect negative thoughts. I think that you said something just here recently that you have to go through those layers to get the authentic story. And oftentimes we don't even realize that we're, for lack of a better term, sugarcoating some things. And to get to the bottom or to get to the authentic part of the story, we have to get there, because in that place or in that ugly place is where we see true deliverance and true reaching other people happens. I tell you, oftentimes I think that some of the most challenging times in our lives can be the best spiritual times in our lives, because it causes us to have to really take off the facade. And then we have to deal with whatever it is at face value right now, today. One question I want to have for you is that you ever see, when you started this journey 15 years ago, did you see you here at this point dealing with imposter syndrome? Because most people would think, how does this go along with the book? Did you see you here?
No, I did not. I was just editing people's books. I was just editing people's books because I saw, errors in books and I wanted to stop that. Yeah. So I was just editing people's books, and then it just turned into a situation where I said, your story that you shared with me is not what I see on the pages, sis. What happened? I don't know if I can share that. Do you know the impact you can have if you share that? What are you doing? I don't want to share that. Okay, why not? I don't want to talk about it. Well, we need to talk about it so that you're going to take this book down in 2 years and say, I don't want this book out there. It's not the true story. And I've had some situations where they were emphatic about it. I left it alone. I respect you. At the end of the day, it's your book. But I am going to try my best to tell you, you have to deal with what you have repressed. Like, you've suppressed that down deep. If it's trauma, right? If it's anything unfavorable, protection mechanism of the mind pushes it down into your subconscious. You don't even know it's there. Wow. But the second we start to do the shadow work is when you start to cry and you start realizing, okay, I've been through some stuff. Okay. And I want to share it. I'm ready to share it. Let's do it. And then that's when the real healing happens for you, and then your readers can then align themselves with your story, and then that connection is made, and that's how you get through.
So we had a couple more minutes. How long does it typically take? I know everyone is different, but to actually, let's say, write a authentic, well-written book, does it take, and I know I'm kind of like just putting you out there, is it could be a 6 months process, it could be a year, because I've heard people say, I've been working on this for the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh yeah, for sure. It could take up to 2 or 3 years. Have they done that work? That's okay. That's first question. If they've done the work and they know, it could take maybe a year, 6 months. I've seen it done in 6 to 9 months. But if you haven't done the work, you have to stop the project and go do the work and come back. But on average, anywhere from 12 to 24 months to write a book that you can be proud of, to write a book that's really going to have that impact.
Substance. Wow.
Yes.
We are super excited that you decided to share with us and come on to Christian Networking Entrepreneurs. I am just in awe of you.
Likewise.
I am just so impressed. So impressed. I thank you for going through your journey. I thank you for making the mistakes and still bouncing back, but bouncing back even better and bouncing bouncing back strong. Thank you for being a mom and a wife and making it just look so glamorous, because I know it takes a lot of work. And like you said, you've done the work, so you definitely deserve a seat at anybody's table.
Thank
at anyone's table.
So much.
So we are excited to have her. Please reach out to Legacy
Book Coaching.
You no more excuses for all of those that have been wanting to write a book for the last 20 years. Today is your day. God opened up opportunity for Miss Eryka to be here so she can coach us through whatever imposter syndromes we have, so we can get down to authentic book and the authentic you. So we are excited. Again, if you yourself are interested in being part of the Christian Networking Entrepreneur, where you come on, you share your vision, your ministry, your story, your journey of your community leader, a business owner, this is the place that you should be. Christian Networking Entrepreneur. Let me give you the phone number again before we get off of this live. And if you watch this live, please share this. Share this with somebody, because I really believe that this episode is going to be a shift blessing. It's a blessing that's going to bless you, but it's going to shift you into a whole nother dynamic. The phone number is, see, I've gotten so excited about everything that I kind of like lost track of everything. Our phone number where you can contact us if you are interested in being on the show is 216-916-9270, extension 4. Give that phone number a call. We can have you set up and we can have you booked for the next coming months to be on the show. Christian Networking Entrepreneurs. Remember, if you do not network, you do not work. We see you on next month. Goodbye.